I was thinking about it the other day, and of the lucky instances I've got to meet people in my life, you may have one of the, arguably the most impact of anyone I've met, which is a really strange thing now, like thinking about it. But
7 years later.
Yeah. You reaching out essentially with kind of a plan of how I could run Hate.
Yeah.
And make shirts because you were doing it for other people. Like, that opportunity has changed everything.
It's changed. Yeah. I mean, it changed both of us, really. I mean, so. Yeah, it came with hey, come on our podcast. And then why don't we try making a shirt?
Yeah, man.
And I can take care of it. And then 7 years later.
A couple million in sales and moving a lot of shirts.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot
Constantly
of fun.
busy. Constantly,
and, which has now, hell, man, we've business partnered up and we've got to continue to grow this thing together. And I can't say enough gratitude, man, because I don't know whether I'm here or not without that, but I'm really stoked I'm here.
Yeah, me too. And we get to work with a lot of fucking good people.
We get to work with a lot of really cool people.
And that's arguably the best part of it.
Yeah.
Is the people we get to deal with, and we're not afraid to tell other people to hit bricks.
Yeah.
You don't fit. And it's good to be in that position. It's a great position to be in that most people aren't.
No, being able to turn down work that you don't want to do is a real key.
Yeah. One
of the big advantages to that is, catch everybody up to speed here. So Phil Stevens runs, I'll let you explain what it is all you do.
The easiest way that I explain it to people is, if you want it done, I'll do it. I mean, it comes down to that, really. But what we do is we run a production facility and fulfillment warehouse. So as far as fulfillment warehouse, think Amazon on a smaller level, of course. I'm no fucking Jeff Bezos, but maybe we will be one day.
I'm down for space.
Yeah. We can build our own rocket.
I don't know that we're the people that need to be building rockets.
Well, no, we're going to have to hire that out.
We'll have to hire that. Yeah. I just show them a picture of a tube and I'm like, looks like this.
Yeah.
Goes that way.
Yeah. We got a fucking toilet paper tube with a rocket in it.
Here's our idea.
Yeah. But basically, people come to us with conceptual ideas. We turn them into reality. We create them. We store them. We pack them. We ship them.
Yeah.
So basically, the end user gets the product, and the person who's running the business doesn't have to do much.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of companies that do this. You doing it for me changed a lot. And this is for business owners out there looking to start building a brand, do anything like that. I wanted to have Phil on, who's the other half of my team with Hate, who runs the warehouse and now runs a company that he and I have partnered in with Merch Masters. We now own a couple $1 million in screen printing equipment.
Yeah.
And having a good time with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyone out there who's looking to start selling apparel, things, any of that, please reach out, send an email to matt@mattvincent.net. Happy to help the best way I can and introduce. If that is something you can't figure out as far as wanting to sell items, stuff, shirts for your brand, shirts for your business, we can help. So reach out.
Yeah, at the very least, and that's one thing I tell people, I'll do anything, but if I can't do it or I don't want to do it, at the very least, I can point you in a direction.
Yeah.
I have no problem with spreading the word and helping others out. He does it better than we do. Go to them. But even concept to reality stuff, like your mobility sleeve you did.
Right.
Things like that.
Right. Yeah. The mobility sleeve years ago, everything from prototyping that out overseas to packaging, manufacturing, and everything we were able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a real trip, and it's been really cool. You and I talking about making this something more available publicly for, companies that want to do 50 shirts for their gym, 100 shirts, that don't need a ton, but want some options of being able to do it well. And the problem is the other companies that do this, Printful or any of the other fulfillment things, most are based, one, in LA.
Yeah.
And so rent in LA is expensive. And so those businesses tend to be more expensive. The other part of that is, since they're in LA, any of your sales that are East Coast really are going to get hit on time.
Yeah.
We're located dead middle of the country, Topeka, Kansas. It is not expensive to be there. So I know that we typically beat pricing from anyone else. And,
Yeah.
and we offer both fulfillment or non. If you just want us to ship you stuff that gets made, we can do that.
And I mean, if you have side hustles are a big thing now. And, if somebody wants to start up their own company selling shirts and merchandise locally, they can do that through us, and we can help you get that rolling.
Yep.
You can be your own boss type of thing. It doesn't have to be your brand. Because I think the biggest mistake people make, we've seen it 100 times. Out of 100 people that come to us, one will make it.
Sure.
And that's just reality. Because people don't understand. Like, you got it from day one. You came in and you knew, I can't just put up a shirt and expect it to sell.
No, it's not how it works.
It's not how it works. But people think that. How often do we get that? A ton.
Yeah,
And
there's
we
a
get
lot of people
with
that are like,
huge followings. I've seen tons of people with huge followings that don't sell shit. And people with smaller followings that have a good brand, they push their brand, they live it, and it works.
yeah, and that seems to be the only way that we get to do it. And what I saw immediately from jump was by you handling that side of things allowed me to do
Yeah, it frees
the
you up
things
for what
that-
you're good at.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't make any sense for me to be filling boxes and doing all that when I need to be doing Matt Vincent shit that I can't pay someone else to do. And at that time was traveling, competing, and still doing plenty of that.
Well, and that's what we don't do. Like, we will make it, we will store it, we will pack it, we will ship it, we will get it out. We don't push it for you.
Nope.
That's on you.
We are not a marketing company.
We're not a marketing company. We can hook you up with marketing companies, but that's not our gig. Our gig is production, fulfillment, warehousing.
And I love that, right? Because that's the mechanical side of the business that I know can just overwhelm people and crush that dream of building more.
Yeah.
When like, I want to do this. And the marketing part is magic.
Yeah.
That's the magic. You've got to figure out how to tell your story, how that goes. And in my opinion, if someone has that and they're going to figure that part out, which is the hard part, they'll figure out printing shirts anyway.
Yeah.
So why don't we just offer help to jumpstart that? Like, let us just remove these steps for you to have to concern yourself with. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was great. It's really what allowed me to grow and scale and move my business, because from jump, with having that fulfillment, I never had to consider there being any difference between selling 5 things today or 500 things today, because the warehouse staff managed it. It was always a part. I mean, hell, it was, I don't think I made my first trip to your warehouse until 4 years.
4 or 5
yeah, 4 or
years
5 years into owning Hate.
Yeah, you'd never even seen your stuff.
No.
it
it ain't fucking broke.
Went out. Yeah, exactly.
They didn't need me showing up fucking things up.
Yeah.
I know my side of the job.
Yep.
But man, it's been a run.
It has.
And it's been super fucking fun.
I
can't believe I get to do this, and I thank you a ton for everything, my brother. For those of you who don't know, like, you have kind of been in the background with powerlifting for a long time. I mean, even back to what we were talking about, T-Nation.
Yeah. That's the weird thing about me is
I imagine there's a lot.
Yeah. But I'm the guy that nobody knows, but they
Right.
want to know. And it's weird. But I don't want to be I don't want to be you.
Good.
You're good at it.
It's special.
Yeah, and that's not me.
Sure.
And I've been powerlifting for I don't know. I won the WPA Worlds in 15 years ago.
Where are your lifts?
I deadlifted 700 at 220 at that lift. That was back when 700 was heavy.
Yeah, I remember. This was back whenever I was doing things. Yeah.
700 used to be impressive. And I'm still going. Like I was ran over when I was 7. Hold
on. Run over.
Yeah, I got ran over by a utility truck.
Like how?
Like one of those trucks that goes up and fixes power lines and shit.
Okay.
So, crushed my hip structure in 16 places, severed the femoral artery. Was never told to walk. Told I would never walk again, shit like that. Your group stuff really resonates with me as far as like live your life. Because I died when I was 7. I was dead. And so in my mind, every day since then.
So like they brought you back? Dead?
Yeah, dead. Like
Holy
I was in
fuck.
ICU for 3 months.
Holy shit.
I had like 6 blood transfusions, and my vascular surgery was 13 hours, and they just told my parents like he won't live. And then it was okay, he'll never walk again. And so basically ever since I was 7, I've been living on like it's bonus time.
Fuck
That's the way I've bought it. and it's like, I'm going to live life. I'm going to kick ass. And like, I'm going to do powerlifting. I'm going to play football. I'm going to do this. And it's shit I was never supposed to do. And so I still do. I do one meet a year. I just did a meet down with Dave Tate and Jim Windler in Columbus.
On 2 replaced hips.
On one replaced hip, a replaced hamstring, 2 repaired biceps. I've had every limb surgically repaired. But I squatted 770, deadlifted 700, and I benched under 4. My labrum's torn. But
still one of the guys out there doing it in gear.
I just started in gear.
Oh, did you?
So I had never touched I don't know. I'm one of those people that likes doing what everybody else doesn't do. When I started,
you started gear after everyone bailed.
Yes. When I started powerlifting, I would go to all the meets and I was the only raw lifter.
Okay.
And then a year ago, I was like, nobody's doing fucking gear. Let's get in this shit. So I've done 2 geared meets now. My best raw squat is 722. I did that up at Burdick's place.
Yeah.
Completely raw. And now my best single ply equipped is 770.
Fuck me.
So,
good work.
On a replaced hip. So I'm not sure anybody's ever done that. I'm sure
How fucking old are you, Phil?
I'll be 45 this year.
Okay.
So, yeah, 45 in a month. So.
Just under 10 years older than me.
Yeah, and then, I ran into all these people. A lot of my connections come through. Like I said, I decided to live my life. So at the age of 25 or whatever, I packed a duffel bag, put it in my truck, sold everything that I owned except for what would fit in my truck, and just decided to travel. And so, like, to learn coaching, learn things like that, I just went there. And I'm going to fucking drive down to Texas. I'm going to live there for a month. I'm going to drive to Arizona, live there. I flew to Thailand, lived there for a year. Coached at the Olympic Training Center. That was back in the days. I worked for T-Nation for about 5.5 years. And I was able to work anywhere in the world. So I was like, fuck it, let's go to Thailand. And lived there for a year. And ended up leaving them after 6 years. And went and picked up a job in Arizona. Lived in Phoenix for 3 years. That's where I started Highland Games. So I did Highland Games poorly while I powerlifted.
Perfect.
That was back before throwers started getting into it.
It's true. There was like 1 or 2, but it was just Ryan Vieira and like another guy who were killing everyone.
Yeah. So I did well being strong.
Yes.
You come in with 700 deadlift and like the static events, the caber, the hammers, anything I didn't have to move my feet, I did well on.
Weight over bar, Braemar Stone.
I did horrible on anything.
Anything else, yeah. Right.
But then I moved to San Francisco area, met Burdick more. We had been in touch with each other. And then I met up with Windler in person for the first time, and that's where all this business took off.
So Windler's your first avenue into this world.
Yes, it was like he wanted some shirts made, and I just took over his store. And he was my first client.
And just so we're clear, in the wonderful world of Jim Windler, he just had you make like 50 XL shirts.
Yeah, like his idea. We started a store, and he had 2 sizes, awesome and not awesome. So basically, if you ordered not awesome, you got like an extra small or a 3X. Like you didn't get to choose the fucking size. And then everybody else,
I fucking love Jim.
Everybody else got an XL.
Oh my god, it's just XL, and he sent them to all of us.
Yes,
and they didn't fit,
and none of them fit. Like none of his friends were an XL. So I got like 70 emails. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this shirt? It doesn't fit me. And Jim just told them, lose weight, you fat bastard.
That's it.
That's it.
Lose or gain weight. I don't care.
If you want to wear my shirt, you're gonna lose weight. So. And then that spurred into everything. So, I mean, that's for people that are listening to this that want to do things like I print.
I couldn't have come on long after that.
No, it wasn't that long. A year or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were handling books and doing all that.
Yep.
Jim,
so I print all Jim's books. I print anything on his store I make. So.
And you at the time, as like me, were weird gatekeepers to Windler.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like my job. I have a job for Windler that his wife gave me. And it's like anytime now that Arnold hadn't happened, but like I have to go to Ohio every year and make Windler go to the Arnold.
And make him leave his house.
Yeah, make him leave his house.
Fucking shut in.
We literally go walk the expo for 30 minutes, get the fuck out, and go to the bar across the street.
Yep.
But he made an appearance. So, yeah, that's where all this shit kicked off. And then, I've got the Iron Radio.
Yep.
I had you on there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's where we connected up with this.
Yeah, connected the first time.
And you came back a few months later. It's like, hey, you know that T-shirt idea? Let's go ahead and do it. And here we are.
Here we are. Here we are. Let's take advantage of an opportunity that shows up, right? Like, man, I wouldn't have ever thought that this was the plan. Hell, I can even remember telling people, like, no, I don't want to sell shirts. Like, I don't have to. I didn't have the time.
Yeah.
With a real job and doing the Highland Games thing. And,
Yep.
I mean, what am I going to fucking go mail something once a week right there? And that's the problem. It's that early days of the business where I'm going to sell 1 or 2 things a week.
Yes.
And that would, with my schedule of travel, would be like, oh, I guess I'll just ship on Thursdays, which, by the way, you were allowed to do.
Yeah.
Up until Amazon.
Yes. Yeah.
Like up until 4 or 5 years ago, no one had a problem with like all of our shit ships on Thursdays.
Yeah. Now that doesn't go.
No.
So, yeah, we're 5 days a week.
Yeah. If they don't hear a ship, you know, a notification back on shipping within 24 hours, like we're behind.
Yes.
And they should be. That's the
just
standard of the world it is now.
Yeah.
I just dig that we're in the middle of the country, so we get both coasts 2 days.
Yeah, and a lot cheaper. That's why I moved from California. So basically, I moved this business. I started it with Windler in California.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was living there when we started.
Okay.
And I moved back to the Midwest because everything's cheaper.
It's free here.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with California prices.
Yes.
Everything here is like paying tax in California.
And so I was able to make everything cheaper. And most, like you said, most of these companies making people stuff are based on a coast.
Yep.
And their prices reflect it. And I'm able to pay, you know, my people well for the area they're in.
Mm-hmm. And own your building.
And own my building and reflect those prices to our clients.
Right.
And like you said, then the ship time is never East Coast to West Coast. We are directly smack dab in the center.
Yep.
And ship, and then we ship internationally too. The only place you can't ship now is Australia, which is a shit show.
So when you're doing this traveling bit and you're finding places to go learn and train from, like, where did you end up?
God, tons of places. I spent time down with Mark Ripto in Wichita Falls and just learning that guy.
Learning that guy.
Yeah. And
what did you take away from Rip?
He's a crotchety old fucker. And what Rip says is right. Like, we had an argument, like, it wasn't until I deadlifted 750 that he said, that was a good job, but you're still doing it wrong. So it doesn't matter what you say. He's fucking right. But, and that's why I connected with Windler there too, because that's when Windler was going down there a bunch.
Yeah, because Rip mentored Jim a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then, like I said, a year in Thailand, I was able to train at the Olympic Training Center there. That's the year that, or help coach there. That's the year that one of the girls won gold for Thailand. That was amazing. I was going to live
in
there.
weightlifting, or
yeah, in weightlifting.
Okay, so you're working at the Thai Olympic Training Center.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
How did you get that job?
I walked in there. I just walked in, and
I noted, Brent, when we escaped to Bali, apparently we just walk in for jobs.
Yeah, I just walked in there and started training people, and they were like, "Cool."
They're like, "He's very tall.
A lot of it I
leave him
learned
alone."
from. And
this
then,
guy
like,
throws rocks.
I don't know, man. I wish more people did this. I wish there was an avenue for this in every field, not just fitness. Like, I wanted to learn Olympic weightlifting coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I met Sarah Robles, who's a 3-time Olympian or whatever.
Yeah.
I went and just shut my fucking mouth and listened to her coach and watched him coach for months.
In Thailand?
No, this was in Arizona.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
another place.
Yeah.
So I bounced around. If we wanted, so I went from Kansas to Washington, D.C. for 2 years, to Thailand for a year, to Montana for a year, back to Kansas shortly, Arizona for 3 years, San Francisco for a year, lots of stops in Wichita Falls, Texas. I fucking bounced around all over the place. And all those places it was to learn. Like, when I moved to San Francisco, 2 things. I was moving up there because I did a seminar in San Francisco. I met the woman who's now my wife. But Burdick also lived there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and fucking, hey, I'm going to learn from you and coach with you now. And fuck, I was also, God, this was way back before any of this started.
Man, Jesse's had such an influence on
He has. And
so many people.
that's like, now I'm helping Dave at Elite FTS with his stuff, but we met 25 years ago. I threw, back before there were seminars, when I was working with T-Nation, I had the crazy idea of, let's throw a big fucking seminar. And I did it with my own money. And I shelled out like $25,000 cash. I rented the Hilton in Washington, D.C., and I paid all these coaches. I paid Dan John and fucking Alan Cosgrove and a bunch of, like, 8 speakers. And we're 2 weeks out from this fucking seminar that I have $25,000 into, and I've sold like 6 tickets.
Fucking
for $100
awesome.
a piece. So I have $600 for this 25 grand. And Dave,
they're going to get a lot of
Yeah.
one-on-one time.
Exactly. And I'm going to lose my fucking ass. Dave steps up on the thread on T Nation. I had never met the man in my life. And he says, Elite FTS is going to donate $10,000 in equipment to give away at this thing. And I will show up with one of my people for free if it sells out. And it fucking sold out. And I profited 30 grand. And Dave saved my ass.
Whoa.
For no, like, he did not fucking know me.
Fucking
And-
good guy
Yeah.
Dave Tate showing up.
And yeah, he came and gave away a bunch of equipment, and fuck, I was able to shell $30,000 in my student loans, and then I packed my fucking duffel bag. I literally packed one backpack and moved to Thailand for a year. Didn't know a fucking soul there.
All right, man. So that to me, as a fucking adventurer,
Yeah,
or wanting to be one,
yeah,
that fucking fires me up.
that was fucking
so
badass.
much because that's such a detonate push.
Yeah,
Of like,
I could have died.
Yesterday
numerous
doesn't
times. Like,
exist.
I should be dead, because I didn't just go to Thailand and like sit in the fucking city.
no, I don't imagine you did.
Every day I went there, I bought a motorcycle, and every day I'm going out to explore these fucking caves. Like, I found myself in caves, like spelunking with one of those lights that's on your keychain. That's all I fucking had. And I'm in the Thai jungle by myself. And I'm like, fuck, looking back, I'm like, that was fucking stupid. Because you're in a fucking place, like, they fucking just lock you up and throw you in a bamboo cage. If you fuck up.
It's a weird system of
Yeah.
law there, right? Because like weed's a giant no-no
Yes.
in Thailand, like fucking locked up.
Huge, yeah. And there's no laws against entrapment. And that's one thing they warned me when I got there. Like, a policeman can actually walk up to you, offer to sell you drugs.
And then arrest you.
You say yes, they arrest you.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a
I
drug.
didn't find out until listening to some true crime podcast. However that should come out.
You got it.
Listen to what I'm thinking, not what the words are. But we were watching that, and like, so the U.S. is one of the only countries that cops are allowed to lie to you
Gotcha.
in interrogation
Okay.
to
I didn't
get
know that,
you to
yeah.
confess.
Really?
Right. So they can say, your partner's telling us blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And we have blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile,
They don't.
total
have shit.
bullshit.
Yeah.
They're totally allowed to do that.
Wow.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's not allowed anywhere else. And I guess because we were watching that and that had turned me on to looking at stuff about like people who give false confessions,
Yeah.
which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
They'll just admit.
Yeah. Even though they didn't do it.
Yeah. And the psychology behind it, like it's so crazy that why would you admit something you didn't do?
Yeah.
And them explaining the psychology behind it of like, they'll get into this interrogation room and they can hold you.
Yeah.
And ask questions. And at 20 hours into this room that they're not listening to anything you're saying.
Yeah.
People's rationale starts going, nothing I'm saying is getting me out of the room. What gets me out of the room?
Oh,
and
fuck.
if that says yes, that's the answer to alleviate panic.
Yeah.
They don't realize it's creating a shit ton more. But people fucking confess to
Yeah.
crimes they didn't commit all the time.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Crazy. But
Yeah, that's like
so
the only
Thailand's
trouble I got
super
in
scary.
over there. Yeah, and the only trouble I got in over there is I fucking parked my motorcycle in a no parking zone, I guess, and I didn't know it. And I went into a store and I came out and
They tried to
took
arrest you.
No, they took it. My motorcycle was gone. The police officer walks up to me. He makes me give him my passport and my ID and fucking takes off. And says, you have to go down here and pay your ticket and then you can have your passport and ID back. Without a passport and ID, I'm fucked.
Whoa.
And the police over there are not, like, here it's an organization, a state ran or city ran organization. Over there, they're subcontractors.
They're subcontractors.
Yes. So every policeman pays to be a policeman. So how they make their money is they set their rates on their fines. Like, okay, for a parking ticket, I have to pay the government $50 or whatever.
So I'll do them for
So
100.
I'll do them for 100.
Whoa, that's a very interesting
And they buy their
system.
own guns and yeah. So this fucker took off with my passport and all that. I'm like, I'm fucked. Yeah, I went and paid him. I think I paid him $100 American.
Yeah.
And got my stuff back. But I mean, if he didn't want to.
What type of bike do we have here?
I bought a Honda Shadow.
Okay, so that's a real motorcycle.
My choices were that or
moped.
a moped.
Yeah,
and I needed something bigger because I mean,
did you have a moped for getting around?
No, I just had that. Yeah, I didn't, and I bought it. The most I ever spent in Thailand was $1,000. That's the first month I moved there, and that's because I bought a new motorcycle.
It's nothing to live there.
No, my rent was $115, and that was with all my utilities included and a maid daily.
What does that place look like?
It was a brand new building. It finished building 2 weeks before I got there.
What are we doing, Brant?
That's so.
Yeah, and then the last 3 months I moved up to Chiang Mai and I lived at a Muay Thai camp to learn from them and help them. And it was my room was like $30. I was one of the 2 rooms at this camp that had air conditioning because I'm not living in fucking Thailand with it.
Which was the difference of $5.
Yeah, extra. It was like $5-10. Yeah, I'd get a fucking massage every day. It was beautiful. It was.
How'd these
great.
massages end?
Well, there's definitely those, but this was from some old lady, and they're fucking amazing. But it was like $3 for an hour.
Oh man, I can't wait to go to Bali later this year, dude. So I can't wait. I'm gonna live like such a dick for a week on like $150.
Buy some Romex watches.
You're telling me.
So like, when you make that decision, like fuck it, I'm going to Thailand.
Yep.
Like, what amount of research is done before you leave?
Not a lot. I mean, within a few weeks. Basically, my biggest hurdle.
Like, you know what city you want to be in?
Yeah, I moved to Pattaya originally.
Okay, so just lots of expats.
Yes, and
English is going to work.
Yes, and that's why I went there. Is because I figured I'd find out something. And my biggest hurdle was I had to go to the embassy. Anybody can go to Thailand for 30 days, but I wanted to live there at least a year.
So you go to the embassy there once.
I went to the embassy here before I left, and I proved that I had an income. Like, one thing with the Thai people is they'll let you visit, but they don't let you stay unless prove you're not a drain on their economy.
Iceland, the same way.
Yeah.
So, like, I think we were looking into it last year. For us to go to Iceland, we'd have to get jobs.
Yeah.
And we determined that I don't know whether our online thing works because it doesn't help Iceland.
Yes.
So we may have to fake jobs working for like Hapthor for his gym.
See, it might work, and that's why mine worked, because they saw, okay, this guy has a job in the States. He gets paid by them, but he'll be spending all his money here.
That's true. Maybe that part of it still would just be
so, and that's
that
why it
makes
worked
sense.
For me. And they gave me a year-long visa. Yeah, and I just fucking packed and went.
And this is what year?
2005, 2004, 2005.
So it's still post 9/11. Yeah. So the world is shifted.
Yes, and yeah, I just showed up, and then I fucking found a gym. And
so, I mean, did you have an apartment booked before you moved?
Yes. So I found an apartment. I went online, found an apartment, booked the room. They're like, oh, yeah, it'll be done being built before you get here. I just flagged down a cab in Bangkok and trusted that he would drive me to the right fucking area because I couldn't speak the language.
How far from Bangkok is?
It was a couple hours.
In a cab?
In a cab.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just sat in the back of that. I got there at like 2 a.m. and fucking waved down the cab and I need to go here and handed him the paper. Because I couldn't speak a fucking lick of Thai. I had no clue.
Yeah, it's not exactly letters.
No.
I don't know how well I can barely handle English, to be really honest with you, Phil.
You learn it fast, though.
You learn squiggles fast? Squiggle symbols?
No, I couldn't read anything, but to speak.
Okay.
Like, I within a month, I could read what I called survival Thai.
Okay.
Or speak it. And so I could live. But English is a mandatory second language in Thailand. So they're taught it in school. So any educated person, which is half the population, knows English. So it's not hard. And they love Americans, which was great. The only issue I had, they hate the French and they hate the dot Indians.
French adds up.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
And, the reason they're pissed at the Indians is they're right on the border and they're coming down and starting stores. The one problem I had was with an Indian guy. Every night after work, I'd go walk the beach. And there's stores on the front of the beach. And this Indian guy grabbed me and started pushing me into his fake Armani store to buy a suit. And I
just what you needed at night while walking the
and
beach.
I fucking grabbed him and I threw him against the wall and I told him never fucking touch me again. And all these Thai people ran up and started clapping. They grabbed me and said, "You go now." And got
clapping
me
and then
they got me the fuck out of there because they hate them because they're stealing their business.
Yeah.
The only thing that was a downer about the place was you hear about the sex industry in Thailand.
Yeah.
It is rampant.
Brutal.
like depressingly brutal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like my fruit lady. So one thing I figured out when I got there is like I found a bar. I'm going to go to this bar. That's going to be mine. I'm going to get to know these people.
Yeah,
Here's
these
my
are
fruit
places I
lady.
know I can drink.
Yeah, this is my fruit lady.
Building resources. I get it. I get it.
This
When I
is
moved
my
to
meat
St. Louis,
lady.
I got someone that can fix my truck.
Yes.
I got a handyman.
Yeah, and what happened was then you frequent the same place, and of course, like any place, any third world country, any country you go to, you're going to get, as a foreigner, you're going to get a different price than a local.
Sure.
But going to the same place and you build up a relationship with these people.
Eventually you're a local.
You're a local. But my fruit lady tried to get me, she had 4 daughters. She tried to hook me up with all 4, the youngest one being 8. Oh, man. Yeah, it was depressing. And that's like at the bar I went to. And I made this decision before I got there. I was like, I'm going to go, because every bar is a brothel.
Right.
So I went to this bar, and it took about 6 weeks. I went there, I drank beer, I talked to them, I'd leave.
Yeah.
And after 6 weeks or so, they noticed that this guy's not here taking them home.
He's not interested in girls.
And that opened it up. Then they started opening up to me, and then they started bringing me to like places where I was the only foreigner, which was fucking badass.
Sure.
You know, hey, let's go out to eat. And we'd jump on the motorcycles and go, and they're like, you just go sit down. And
we'll bring
you're
food.
not welcome here, and we'll order from you. But oh man, it was badass. It's just an amazing experience, and seeing them change, and then hearing their stories. You know, literally their goal in life was to find a foreigner that they can marry and have a better life. And they all get somebody who promises them that, and then a month later they get dropped. Oh. And so it's just this constant.
People that come over
great.
there fall in love with them and then don't.
Yeah,
contact
and
once they return
them,
back to life,
and then don't do anything. And so it's this constant. Oh, I'm doing great. I just got shit on.
Okay, for a place that you like to live, but why is it so shit for them?
See, that was just the bigger cities though. Then I moved to Chiang Mai. Like that's all they knew. That's their avenue out. There is no other choice for a lot of these.
Pattaya or...
In Pattaya, Bangkok, things like that.
Okay.
I moved to Chiang Mai. Yes, there's an area of that, but it was like a block long.
Gotcha.
And that's where the university's at. And that's where you're at the foothills of the Himalayas. And that's where all the Muay Thai is at and things like that. It was more regular people. And that was more refreshing. I lived half my time there and totally different. I did the pilgrimage up to Deutsche Tepe. That's the second most important building or whatever you want to call it in the Buddhist religion. And there's buses that go up there. Before I left, it was like a 25-kilometer climb up a mountain. And I was like, and you'd only see these old Buddhists walk it.
Right.
I was like, I'm fucking doing that before I go. And so I headed out one morning and I walked 25 kilometers up a fucking mountain. And I got stopped 15 times. Like, why are you walking? You want to ride?
You okay?
Yeah. And because nobody fucking did it. But I was like, I'm doing this shit. And just bucket list shit like that. And
no, so something like that experience, right? Like that walk, that 25 kilometers.
Yeah.
Like, is that something now that you'll still be able to like reference back to in your head and be like,
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And that was just, it's shit. I'm proud that my goal in life was to do shit that nobody else wants to do, but most people don't have the balls to do.
I understand.
And that's what I've kind of dedicated my life to, is doing that.
I love it, dude.
And
I love
at the same time, just staying, I like staying out of the limelight. I don't mind being like the guy behind the guy that nobody fucking knows about.
What? Listen,
Yeah.
it's a whole nother bag of worms wanting to be in front.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
For me, it was less control by someone else.
Yeah.
If one of us has to do this, I'll fucking take the wheel.
Yep.
Seems fine to me.
Yep.
But man, like so many people need that quality assistance.
Yes.
Because
Well, most people do. Let's be honest.
I'm really good at a few things.
Yeah.
And the more time I can spend doing those is what really helps drive the business.
Yeah.
You know, having quality help like Brant allowed me to free up from doing video editing to do more business growth, you know, to not worry about your thing. Didn't put me filling boxes and getting stressed about that side of the business to where I could stay creative and come up with new designs, because that's what's run our thing is that we don't put out one design and then that's it for the quarter. We drop stuff on a regular basis. Man, I love that life experience shit, Phil. Like living in Thailand's got to be a trip.
It was amazing. I'd move back there. That's
Yeah.
one of the places I'd go.
You'd retire.
I would move my whole family there. And just,
How's the family feel about it?
I think they're game.
Yeah.
You know, but I can't do what I'm doing now. I mean,
Yeah, but the beauty
could,
of it is, what net worth do you need?
Yeah,
to,
not a lot.
To sell everything
Yeah,
and
not a
move to
lot.
Thailand because
Yeah.
you're not keeping this shit running.
No. Yeah. And so, yeah. it
Or
doesn't
also,
take a lot.
what's the monthly that needs to come in from remote job?
Yeah, you can have a shitty job. I mean,
take
if you're
much.
making $300 a month, you can scrape by over there. And
We
what does
looked
it take
at
to
it.
do that?
Yeah, we looked at it before our trip to Bali was supposed to be last year.
Okay.
And then COVID
Yeah.
shifted everything. So the Trova trip thing that we've got, I think we have some spots open if anyone's trying to find us on Trova trip. But the trip to Bali, we're talking about staying a little extra since we're already way over there.
Yeah.
I started looking at what buying houses looks like. 3 or 4 bedroom villa, private pool, walls, a driver, everything.
Yeah.
Like the house was like $400,000.
Yeah.
And then for me to have a driver, a daily maid, a masseuse, and a cook, like that life, I don't know, luxury was like $100,000 buys it for me for 10 years.
Holy shit. Yeah.
So it's $10,000 a year to basically have all of that.
Yeah.
The nice news is we're choosing to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We could leave
Yep.
and go do fucking nothing.
Yep.
I'll be terribly bored really quickly.
Yeah.
But at some point.
I think that's where most people fuck up, though. Like, I'm glad I did it because I spent 15 years just traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Most people get to my age and they wish they'd have done shit.
Of course.
And I'm okay setting roots where I'm at because I fucking took the time and did it.
Yeah, you did
You
for
know,
15
I
years,
did it,
man.
You know, so it felt good to like lay down some roots and have a house and kids and things like that. But,
You know, I've been thinking about the boomer generation.
Yeah.
And man, as easy it is to give flack to that generation in a current climate that we're in. I was thinking about like their plight, right? You know, they're born under World War II generation, the greatest generation. And so, I mean, like they're already in a shadow.
Yeah.
The group of folks that went to Vietnam is not treated the same
no,
as our World War II vets.
no.
And then, you know, their life, right, was this very, very told by the greatest generation of like, here's the things you're going to do.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be security and safe because they went through the Depression and
Yes.
fucking really
Yes.
struggled
Yes.
and really starved. And so like whatever avoided that
Yeah.
was biggest goal in life. And so the boomers go through school being told exactly what to do to get jobs.
Yeah.
And then they immediately start a career, start a family.
Yep.
And now are built taking care of another person.
Yeah.
And so they also have a lot more, let's say, obligation or feel obligation or responsibility to really take care of the generation before too, because that generation was very much like you're fucking taking care of us.
Yeah.
That's how this goes.
Yeah.
So they never got to really spend a ton of time
No.
exploring to humans, being who figure out who the fuck they are before being told what to do and then immediately now having to tell another human what to do.
Yeah.
And the only path you know is the one you came up on.
Yeah.
And so I get it. I can see the flaws in that. But man, that self-discovery stage of getting to spend 15 years sowing your wild oats, if you will, I think is critical.
It is, but nobody allows themselves to do it.
No.
And that's the thing. And they don't realize that they're the only ones stopping themselves. Like,
Yep.
I can't tell you how many people I met at that Muay Thai camp, for instance, that they would live there 9 months a year. They would fly home, get a job, bust their ass for 3 months, earn up enough money to move back. And that's how they did it. And anybody can do that. You just have to have the balls to do it.
See, it's not like you're finding local work once you're in Thailand because
No.
nothing pays worth a
No.
shit.
No, and they have laws there. Like if I want to start a business, I can. But I think it's a smart law, and we should probably have it here. If you open a business as a foreigner, for every foreigner you employ, you have to employ 3 Thais.
Oh. Okay.
Because it keeps their people employed. So
That's
it's a 3 to
interesting.
1 ratio, which
I mean, like, but what level of diversity is that culture? Does it feel pretty?
the reason I left is because I went there alone.
Yeah.
And after a while, like, I was accepted, but I would never be a Thai. And that wears on you after a year.
Your best bet is marrying some girl
Yeah.
who essentially you've bought.
Yeah.
Whether or not
Yes.
love's involved in all.
But yeah. So that's why.
Their motivation is different.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go there with unless you're like 70 and your wife died and whatever. You've already had your time. And then go sit on the beach and drink margaritas or whatever they make there. But
whatever they make there.
you know, they have formaldehyde in all their alcohol.
Why?
That's what they use to kill bacteria.
Formaldehyde.
Yeah, they tried taking it out, and people bitched because it changed the taste.
You
so
changed
they
the
put it
taste
back
and
in.
put formaldehyde
Yeah, so I
back
was
in our
drinking
booze.
whiskey with fucking formaldehyde in it.
Well, here you are.
But yeah,
You know, I mean, it if it doesn't kill you, I
Yeah.
suppose.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, the biggest thing, I wanted to learn it, but I learned through experience,
Same.
and that's how that's what I took on to coaching. That's what I did with everything. It's like, I'm gonna go, like the screen print business. I fucking took classes and I ran a screen print at a university. That's how I learned it. It's like I learn hands on. I don't learn from reading it. Show me it. Let me get my hands in it.
I've operated that way a long time, and I think it's a shame that we have so many education systems in our country that aren't built
around that.
around people like us that need maybe not vocational training, but I need on the job.
Yeah.
And we really don't push that until what? You're an intern.
Yeah.
And then the weird thing now is, oh, cool, I've got $150,000 or $200,000 in debt from college and no on the job training.
Yes.
No experience whatsoever.
And the thing is, most people in most industries, if you just email them or call them, they'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know a coach really that, like, if you called them up and said, hey, I just want to watch you coach, that they wouldn't allow you to.
I wonder if DeFranco would go for it.
Yeah, probably not. But
Probably because he's harassed. It's not because he's a
Yeah.
dick.
yeah, and 20 out of the 100, 20 out of 30 calls would be shitheads.
And you know, there's a lot of truth
but-
to what you're saying, because I mean, hell, man, you know that like part of my getting start within strength industry is I'm working outside sales doing petrochemical shit.
Yeah.
And I started booking like my trips. Like I knew that I needed to see people in Toledo. I needed to see people outside of Chicago or Lima. And so I would stay for a week in Columbus.
Gotcha.
I'm nowhere near the places that I need to fucking have meetings.
Yeah.
But my meetings are like an hour.
Yeah.
So I'd get up early that morning, go have a 10 a.m. meeting that was 4 hours away, drive back. I'm back by 2 or 3 and I could go train at Elite.
Yeah.
Or go train with Jim. Or I
whatever.
did the same at Iron Sport with Steve Pulcinella up in Philadelphia a handful of times. Mark, those guys out at Super Training or Kelly or any of these people, like, man, I got to go travel and just exist in their world and be a white belt. Shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Just shut the fuck up and go learn whatever you
That's
can
another thing
from
most
them.
people have a problem with.
And through that period of my time, man, I have some of the best relationships that have meant the most to me.
Yeah.
I mean, whether that's, you know, Windler being a big influence and getting a chance to see someone like him. And for me, seeing Jim, like what being around Jim too did was it really opened my eyes to like, do whatever you want.
Yeah, his give a fuck meter is more broken than anybody's.
But it's pure.
It's refreshing.
Yeah,
it is.
It's a pure one of
It is.
like, he's not trying to not give a fuck to impress you.
No. There's
He
no
honestly-
trying in the not giving a fuck. He just doesn't give a fuck.
give a fuck.
Yeah, he just doesn't.
He wants to work with those kids
Yes.
at the high school.
Yep.
And be Jim.
Yep.
That's it.
And he pulls it off. And
Incredible.
none of us know how, but
Despite his best efforts, best efforts to not make money and not promote and not do anything.
Yeah.
He's so fucking unique and then did such a great job at an early window.
Yeah.
And is funny and all the things. But man, getting to spend time with guys like that shaped so much of me and built these cool relationships that I got to stay in touch with people.
yeah, but I mean, that's even like me spending all that time with Mark Ripto. I shut the fuck up, even though I didn't agree with 87% of what he said. I'm still at least learning what I know. I'm learning. how I don't want to be.
Sure.
That's still a learning experience. You know,
and if this guy's popular, what is it that's going right?
What is this going right? And like with him, it's simple. I mean, like, say what you will about him. Starting Strength is still, for what it is, it's a good program.
It
gets
a great
people
program.
started.
It's a great program.
Yes.
It is. As far as a basic lifting program, I don't understand barbells.
Yeah.
Fucking start
And that's
there.
what it's for. The
Windler
problem,
wrote that for powerlifting.
yes.
It's 531.
Yes. And yeah, that's the problem I have with anything with Mark does is he tells everybody, like, this is the way to squat, no matter what. Like, all the world records are done this way. Well, watch them. They're not.
They're not.
They're not.
It's not true.
Nobody does it that
Right.
way. It's literally not fucking true, Mark. But he thinks it is.
And you can't argue with that.
No, you can't turn it down. And so basically, I mean, the resounding theme here is go places, shut the fuck up and listen.
Yeah.
And nobody does that anymore. They want to talk. And it's like, just shut up and learn.
And you can disagree with the guy that you're learning from.
And not say it.
And not need to prove to him that you know better.
Yes. You just don't say it. And that's what I've brought other people down there. It's like, just shut the fuck up and take the 3 things out of 600 that he teaches you that are worth a shit.
Yep.
And you came away with something.
That reminds me, like getting that window that I had where I trained, where I did get geared powerlifting training with Gary Frank and those guys was such an interesting, very, very new environment.
Yeah. I
never saw anyone in that gym drink water. It was only like Mountain Dew Code Red. And it was Mountain Dew Code Red, and then like everybody would stop on the way into the gym to buy a Fedra.
Yeah.
Like from the gas station, Bronco
Yeah,
inhalers or whatever it is. And so Gary had all these like hand painted murals in the gym that are like backdrops for when he hosts meets.
Okay.
And so Gary's working he's working at the prison in Angola.
Okay.
Correctional officer. What do you call people?
Whatever.
working
The correctional
prisons?
officer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's doing that. And I guess is having some of the inmates who paint these murals for the backdrops, and like they're big like WPF or WPO murals at the time, and like APF seniors or this and that, and it's like pictures of Gary lifting on them and like bolted panels that fascinating.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to say the least.
Yeah.
But that geared time of powerlifting was a really cool experience because I remember at that point, like I didn't want to go to the bar anymore. Yeah. And this turned into that. Yeah. This was the 5 hours, 3 nights a week that I got to spend shooting the shit with guys. Yeah. And that was a really cool time I got to spend, but it very quickly ended up that I didn't want to spend 5 hours getting my 6 reps of bench in that.
Yeah. And that's tough, and that's why I went single ply. It doesn't take me.
Well, you have to deal with less people.
Yeah. I don't need 14 people to help me.
Geared powerlifting, fucking team of people.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
It's just not safe.
No. But for some, I will tell you this, if you have a hip issue and a hip replacement, it's fucking gold.
Yeah.
And that's why I went to it.
Okay.
Basically, I'm extending my career.
That's true.
I'm still doing what I love because I gave up so I blew my hip, or I had to have my hip replaced. And basically the reason it was replaced, it was the one that got crushed. And the doctors equated it to a car with bad alignment. It fucking wore the fuck out faster than it should. So we replaced that, and I was rehabbing that. I deadlifted 635 after that surgery. It felt good. Moved fast. And I was teaching myself to be on 2 feet again. And I was like, let's go ahead and go 655 because it was super fast. And so I went 655, made it halfway up. Everything shifted onto one leg.
That's not good.
And apparently your hamstring can't hold that. It ripped off the hip. And that's where I had that replaced. And honestly, that was the worst fucking surgery I've had. I've had a lot of surgeries, and the recovery of that was horrible. But I mean, anyways, long story short, I retired after that. Like, I'm fucking done.
You're done.
I've had too many fucking surgeries. After a year and a half, it was like, this fucking sucks.
Bored.
I was bored, and I needed that. Even though I only compete once a year now, I used to compete like 6 times a year. I need that fucking out.
And you've got a big gym in Topeka.
Yeah. So 1/4 of our warehouse is a huge fucking gym.
Yeah, Strength Guild.
Yeah. So
fucking nerd.
And anyways, I just like, even when there's like, just fucking never squat again. And
Of course
honestly,
he is. Of course, that's the response. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, and I've told him this. That's why I squatted 722. Well,
Suck my dick, Jim.
it's because Jim told me to quit. That's the main reason. It's like, I'm going to prove to this motherfucker I can squat on a fake hip.
Meanwhile, his motorcycle wrack.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
taking him out.
My fucking back. You fucking pussy. No, and I took a long time because even I needed a hip replacement for 10 years.
Yeah.
And they told me to ride it out as long as I can because it only lasts so long. So, I mean, before my hip replacement, I squatted 650 on a fucking hip that was ruined. But every time I trained, I had to pop like oxys and fucking Advils and shit like that.
Mine makes a bunch of terrible noise, doesn't hurt yet.
Yeah. So the hurt is a whole fucking different thing.
Yeah, I'm going to let it not do that.
Yeah. But the theme I'm going for here is that, like, I didn't quit because I still have passion for it. I have no problem retiring from it once I step on that platform and I'm like, this isn't fun.
You don't find the itch from competing in anything else?
See, I like Highland Games. That's like my backup sport. I'll still do that. See, I quickly moved up to A class, like I said, just because I was strong. But that's my fun sport.
Highland Games is great fun.
It's like I don't train for it.
It's a very different training mentality. Even like at the top end where I was, it's very different than powerlifting because it's not total based.
Yeah.
And so I can train by myself. I can be very focused. I can be more dynamic with bounding and you should be.
Yeah.
And you need to throw a lot.
A lot. And that was my issue. Like when I took up, my goal was to go pro. And at the same time, I was looking to deadlift 800 beltless.
Perfect. Those go great together.
Yeah. So it was Dan John, who I'm close with. I was talking to him about it, and he looked at me and he said, how many people have deadlifted 800 raw beltless? And there was none at that time. And he's like, how many shitty A-class throwers are there in Highland Games? A fucking lot. He's like, pick the one you love, and you got to pick one. And that, okay, I fucking quit.
Yep. There you go.
Because I knew I have the ability to go pro in Highland Games? Yes. Was I willing to put the time in? No. I wanted the 800-pound deadlift.
That was, I thought that was one of the more interesting things I'd ever read from Ripito, was him talking about retiring from competing.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool, honest thing in discussion with himself. He said he had finished the nationals and took 5th.
Okay.
And then immediately looked at what did 4th take.
Yeah.
And then looked at those numbers and said, can I do that? And do I want to?
Yeah.
And then he said, I don't. And then he's like, we're done competing.
Yeah, there you go.
I have no interest in doing what it takes to hit those numbers if I'm really honest with myself, so let's not pretend.
Yeah.
Move on.
And that's fine. And like for me, I've reached a place, like it used to be all about numbers in powerlifting. Now it's just about the experience.
Yep.
I just fucking love it. I like the training for it. I like right now I'm in what I call off season. I just go fucking train. But it's totally different than when I sign, like, here's the meet date. It's time to go.
That's it.
And that's it.
It's the experience, man, of having that thing coming up. Time becomes more valuable again because it's ending. Like the trainings, you only have so long to be prepared. And I think it's critical for people to have those times in their life where now's the fucking time we perform. Yeah. Now's the time we show up. Like, I need to know that you can handle stress, you can do your job, and just do the thing that you've been trying to do for the last 8 weeks or 16 weeks.
Whatever it is. And doing it, like, the gym's totally different. Like, I could go in and hit a 770 squat at some point. In the next year, I'm going to hit it sometime in the gym. Like, I need to hit it at 10:30 on Tuesday.
Right.
On a meet. That's different. And the reason I still go, like, I equate, like we've talked about motorcycle riding after your last trip. I'm very ADHD, and my brain's always fucking running. There's 2 things that shut that down. That's riding a motorcycle and stepping on a platform. I don't fucking hear. I don't see. It's just me in that fucking bar. There's 100 people in powerlifting, 40 people in the crowd. But I don't fucking see them at all. They're not there.
Of course not, yeah.
I get in that zone. Those are the 2 things that get me in that spot. And I'll continue to do it no matter what I hit, as long as I still do that.
Yeah, it's always interesting that those are the same situations I like chasing.
Yeah.
And I've found them in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
This is one of them.
Yeah.
You know, having the headphones and everything. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not looking
Yeah.
at my phone. I'm present with a conversation with someone for at least an hour.
Yeah.
Motorcycle.
And I get the same shit out of what we do. Like, I purely enjoy, and this may be fucking weird to a lot of people out there now. I wish it wasn't. I like seeing me help other people succeed. It gives me a rush. It's like seeing what you've done, what we've done in 7 years. It's like, that's
what we've
fucking
done, man.
badass, man.
I surely fucking feel like it's a we've done.
Yeah, and that's why I like coaching too. Like, I like coaching more than I like lifting.
Ooh. When did that change?
Probably around the hip thing. Like, and the reason I say that and the reason I noticed it is because I go to a meet, I get up for meets. I'm in the fucking zone. I don't need ammonia. I mean, I've done it, but I'm one of those few people that don't because I'm already fucking up. But I'm more nervous taking people to meet than I am doing a meet.
Interesting.
Because I don't want to fuck them up. Like, I don't want to be the reason. I don't want to call the number that fucks them up. I want them to have a good meet. And the good thing, and that's like, we didn't even touch on it, I have a fucking master's degree in art. I have a master's degree in oil painting.
Painting.
Yeah.
All right.
And so I went and got my master's degree so I could be a teacher and be an artist. And anyways, that industry washed out because when I was getting my master's.
When, in about 1650?
No. I realized the only way to make a living as an artist was become a teacher because it's not a real fucking thing. Yeah. And so I went to get a master's degree so I could be a college teacher. Then all the high schools, the K through 12, dumped arts programs. So all the high school teachers that had went and got their masters to get a pay raise moved to the university industry. So there were no fucking jobs when I got out. And anyway, so I became an owner in a gallery and it turned art into work. So it went from I was making art that I thought was art to you need 47 pieces by March 12th for your show. And that's where I stopped. And that's what I enjoy about, like, I have a gym. It's called Strength Guild, but it's not just open to the public. Like, I only deal with people I want to deal with.
So it's not like, hey, what's the membership here? I want to train here.
Yeah, no. And like, you can't just come in and do your own shit. Everybody that walks in the door is getting programmed.
Whoa.
So you can't come do your own
That's
thing.
the complete opposite of how I run it here.
Yeah. So, but
I would prefer not to discuss training with you whatsoever.
Yeah, but I love that. And I love helping. Like, I got one kid that I helped and they won the fucking, played for Minnesota and they won their bowl game. He won the offensive MVP running back.
Yeah.
And I got to help him and shit like that. I wasn't a great changer in his career, but I had time with him and helped him. And it's that shit I love, but I'm able to keep it mine. It's kind of like what Jim does. It's fucking his.
That's something we've talked about, and Brant and I have talked about and I hit on a lot, but like, I think it's really important, especially now, as much as things are digital and strange, having a space that is fucking yours.
Yes.
For me, the first thing I ever built like that would have been my garage back in Louisiana. Like the first one that I just, the scariest squat rack in history in, and a shitty barbell.
Yeah.
But something changed having it.
Yeah.
And then people started coming over to train. And it was the first thing I had ever put together that had a gravity.
Gotcha.
And that was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Something's neat.
Yep.
And that's been something that's continued. So building out this place, building out Dope, building out the house, like having those spaces that are yours. And like you said, I didn't open the gym to make money.
Yep.
I opened it because I wanted a space that's mine to do as I wish.
Yes.
And I can share it as I feel free.
Yep. And that's where I'm at with it. Like, do I make money on my gym? Yes. Do I need to? No.
Right.
I would, and I've thought about like, I could just close it. I don't want to. I like helping these people.
It's not a hassle.
But at the same time, and that's why I charge, if they don't have skin in the game, they don't take it serious.
No, that's true, right? That's
So
it's a fascinating thing.
Yeah.
That I mean, hell, even now noticing with mentor group stuff like that I've run. I've gifted a couple memberships to friends and stuff like that. And it's not that they aren't as invested, but you can tell.
Yeah.
It's different when somebody has skin in the game of like, yo,
Yes.
I'm investing in me. I have to show up.
Yes.
And,
I'll
yeah,
coach.
I think it matters.
I mean, like my gig is what we do, but one of my passions is definitely strength, and I'll always do it.
And you've worked Olympic lifters and everything.
Yeah, Olympic. I've sent. I had national level Olympic lifters. I helped coach, or I did coach the one of 3 men in history to deadlift and squat 900 pounds in the same meet.
Oh, what's
Brian Hartzell?
Yeah, that fucking guy.
He is super gifted, but like I don't want to say it.
All right.
But no, and Jim again. This is when I started doing stuff for him. He's the one I talked to about opening a gym because we were looking to. It hasn't been where it is forever. We were looking to buy a space or rent a space and open a gym. And Windler said, don't do it. He said, the people you want.
Stop squatting. Don't open a gym.
He's just
reverse psychology your entire life.
He had me open it in my garage. He said, the people you want will come to you. Don't go to them. Because I was looking for, we need a fucking space that's on a main street and blah, blah, blah. And I opened it in my garage. And next thing I know, out of a 2-car garage, I'm coaching 46 people.
That's right.
It's
Well,
like,
Tim
fuck,
Swords does it in Houston.
Yeah.
Does a fucking hell of a job. Like a lot of people run it that way, man. And a lot of people will build themselves an excuse of why I can't start.
Yes.
Because imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Right? That, fuck, they're going to see a garage and think X.
Yeah.
And applies to everyone feels it at some different points.
Yep.
Those of you who feel less of it tend to get shit done.
Yeah. And like we trained for powerlifting meets for a year and a half with no bench. We floor pressed. We didn't fucking have one. We're floor pressing. And it fucking worked. I had a power rack and a fucking platform to deadlift on, and that's it. And metal plates in a bar.
And people still showing
And
up.
people showed up. And they worked fucking hard.
Because that's the thing. That's the magic. People want to believe the magic is
Yeah.
in these other places.
Yes.
And it's
And it's
the
not.
community. It's the accountability to each other.
And keeping shit simple. Like, how many strong people have been made by just a bar and some plates?
Most.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them don't have fancy shit. Like all these people that I can't train unless I have calibrated plates. 99% of strong motherfuckers don't give a shit. Like they'll hang whatever the fuck.
It's just resistance, man. It doesn't
I
matter.
went to gyms and we didn't
yeah.
they didn't have enough plates. I hang shit from the bar. Like whatever it takes to get the fucking job done.
Sugar. It's 5 pounds.
Yeah. So, and there's something pure in that. And I try and keep that, like, of course, now I have more shit.
Yep.
But it's still not the shit. It's not the shit that makes the lifter. It's,
No.
And it's not the coach that makes the lifter. Yes, it helps, but you just got to want it. That's like with Hartzell. Like, he could have broke world records if he wanted it. There are a lot of people that are gifted, not just athletically, gifted in anything. Genetically gifted that they quit before the guy who's genetically mediocre.
Sure.
Because that gifted person has never had it hard.
Right.
And the minute they have it hard, they don't know what the fuck to do with it.
No, it's true.
I would argue
you see
a
it
lot of people that are great were not the most elite in the world as far as genetics go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would try to throw myself in a category there.
Yeah, I would too.
I mean, look, the guy I competed against most of the time, Dan McKim, far more genetically advanced, just bigger skeleton, bigger guy.
Yeah.
Also, never got hurt and incredibly strong.
Yeah.
There's just something else there that I didn't show up with, and it's why he has 6 world championships and I don't.
But you have yours because you wanted it.
Yeah, and I did beat him.
Yeah.
Got him. 2 days.
Yeah.
2 times on important times I managed to
and
pull
then
it off. But yeah, like there's freaks out there.
Yeah.
And then the really cool stuff is when you get to see someone who's a freak like Hapthor or Steffi or someone like that.
A freak with drive.
Yes. And then you get the really cool one is freak drive resources.
Yeah.
And like seeing what Hapthor can pull off physically, change wise and body wise, it's like, that's what it looks like if diet, everything is immediately sorted out.
Yeah.
And there's no, burn the boats.
Yeah. And you're a fucking Clydesdale.
Dude, I I was so wildly impressed and motivated by both of them when we were over in Dubai. Haffy looks like something that we should just study.
Yeah.
That's it. They don't make bigger,
Yeah.
gnarlier looking humans. That he's the one. And being around that, it just watching him and the change that he's had on his body and all those type of things, I just had this feeling of like, what the fuck is your excuse?
Yeah.
Why are you still any fatter than you want to be?
Yeah.
Get your shit.
Yeah.
And it helped a lot. It really fired me up coming back from Dubai, and I've maintained about another 10 or 12 pounds off all the time.
Yeah.
But those are freaks, dude.
Yes. And most people aren't freaks.
Most people
spend their time comparing themselves to freaks.
I think
what you can take from them is their drive.
Yep.
If there's something you can learn. That's what you can't take their genetics.
The only thing that you can't that gets weird with freaks in my experience of them too is that they are, however, super consistent.
Yes.
And that's just people that are successful have to figure out that recipe early enough. But not only are they super consistent, I don't believe there's a ton of magic in training modality to the next.
No.
I believe it's belief in the athlete and how much they want to commit to it and showing up every day. Look, there's ways to fuck stuff up.
Yes.
But do I think that there is a program that is going to be significantly better than one slightly different? No, I don't. I don't believe there's any magic to it. I think all the accessories need to be built on your own personal shit.
Yep.
And seeing those guys, man, that they just show up all the time, forever. They don't make mistakes. They're as consistent as anyone I've ever seen. And for me, watching that really sparked this interest in more discipline of, well, that's something I'm in complete control of.
Yeah.
That isn't magic. It's just all those factors. And if those factors add up over time, why don't fucking try them?
Yeah. And it's like you said, I mean, it goes into, it's not just, a lot of things bleed into other fields. Like, that is true. What you just stated is true, not just in athletics. It's true in business. It's true in everything in life. Like, you look at Eddie Cohn's, like, talk to him about training. His fucking training was boring as shit.
Boring as shit.
It was the consistency and doing it and never missing a lift.
Outside of the gym, however, Eddie Cohn's got pet tigers.
Yeah.
And they're shitting in the back of an Explorer.
Yeah. And and he has his place that he's not that way. But you look at anybody in business that's succeeding, it's fairly boring, fairly monotonous, but they just fucking show up and they're consistent.
Yeah, you just can't quit. I know that.
No, and you gotta know you're going to get kicked in the dick.
Work.
Yeah.
Right.
You're going to get kicked in the dick. You're going to fall down. You just stand the fuck up and keep going.
Yep. It's really running a business, and the more that I've figured out about it, it's just problem solving.
Yeah.
That's all the whole thing is all the time, is creative problem solving.
Yes.
All right. The problem is not enough people are seeing this. What do we make that gets more eyes? Not enough people, this doesn't fit right. What do we do next time to make it better? And
well, and from the outside, think of your business and what we've done. Most people only see the success. How many fucking failures have we had in 7 years?
Fucking tons.
And they don't see it like, holy fuck, why did we fucking do that? But did we quit?
No.
We
sometimes you just have
learn
to
from
eat
that. You learn from that. You eat that fuck up, and you move the fuck on.
Yeah, I've had it in the gym too.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of times where I've been fucked up, overshot, and like, we're not training for the next week. Good work,
I fucking
dumbass.
gave myself rhabdo because I was fucking stupid, and I went in. It was when my hip was bad.
You gave yourself rhabdo
Like
when your hip was
bad
bad?
rhabdo.
Okay.
Like pissing Coca-Cola rhabdo.
Why?
Because I went in and I was having a bad day squatting. Shit hurt.
Weird, because your hips fucked.
Yeah, so my hips fucked, so it pissed me off. So
it.
I put 225 on the bar, and I saw how many times I could squat that in an hour and a half.
What'd that number end up?
It was like 300 and some fucking reps.
Fucking gross.
And I fucking couldn't walk for 2 weeks. And I was pissing. Like, I need to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Because I was pissing.
Because you're in
Coca-Cola.
kidney failure.
Yeah. And I learned from that, and I don't fucking do it again. And I don't have my fucking people do that. Like, I will never have you fucking do that.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know that workout isn't on the WOD list. It's strength guild.
But we learn from that. Like, you learn, and it's a stupid saying, and people say it all the time, but you learn tenfold from a failure than you do from a success.
Yeah.
And people need to learn to, you don't want failure, but accept it's going to fucking happen and use it as a learning experience.
You should basically bank on failure and be stoked if success shows up.
Yes. And all you got to do, it's just a learning experience. We're not going to fucking do that again.
No, that was dumb.
And
I learned
that
a
was-
lot with opening the bike shop.
Yeah.
It took me out of having any interest of being an entrepreneur for a decade. And then I was tricked by you back into this.
Yeah, but I mean, but you get it. And that's why this has worked. Because you've got it from day one. And you flat out said it to me, like, I know mistakes are going to happen. You're going to fuck up. I'm going to fuck up. We just got to learn from them and fix them. That's it. Like, they're going to fucking happen.
Man, over time of, your experiences getting you where they are, like, I think now looking at the outside sales job and as much time as I spent in that gig and how that shapes a lot of how I can look at problem solving.
Yeah.
Because in that job within the refractory industry or the hardware sales job I had, I've never worked in a refinery.
Yeah.
I own a hard hat.
Yeah.
I have Nomex.
Yeah.
But in no way can I pretend I've worked here.
Yes.
I sell parts that I barely understand what they do with them when the job happens. Yeah. However, if a job goes bad, what I don't want is my customer at the refinery talking to those guys about the fuck up.
Yeah.
Call and yell at me.
Yes.
I'll talk to them.
Yes.
I can't have you two talk.
Yeah.
Because these two talking will fuck everything
Yes.
up.
Yep.
I can fix this if you can let me be involved. We fucked up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How do we fix it?
Yeah.
That's the first question.
Yep.
I can't undo it.
And that's where a lot of people fuck up. It's just own your shit. Know you're going to fuck up. Own it and fucking fix it. And move on.
Yep.
And try not to do it again. Will it happen? Something like it happen again? Probably so. Try fucking not to. Try not to let it happen. But that's just, I don't know. That's scruples or fucking karma. Like, you just do good shit. Like, I can't live myself just fucking people.
I know where my line of like something feels gross is. And,
Yeah.
And that's a line that I don't bargain with myself on.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't thank you enough, Phil.
Yeah.
For everything. Thank you.
Yeah.
And again, if anyone's interested trying to start merch, apparel, or any of that, send me an email, matt@vincent.net, and I will put you in touch with Phil, and we'll make cool shit together.
There you go. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.